I'm so glad that you could be here and join me, and I appreciate you being here. So thank you so much. Uh, you know, Last week we started with living with favor with deepening our business relationships. And I kind of got to the end of my 35 minutes and realized, oh, I'm going to run out of time. And I kind of split this into a two-part series. So I wanted to jump in today again, digging deeper into our business relationships with something we call action and integration. So this week is all about action and integration. Last week was all about why, where, who, and a touch of how. This week, I want to do more of the how and what. What exactly is it that we should be saying to folks? So, how? That's the question. How? You know, how is really about being authentic, um, emphasizing empathy and understanding how good are you at active listening. Personalized gestures, leaning in, expressing ways physically that you're interested in what they're saying, making eye contact, finding common ground beyond our professional interests, getting to know folks. What do you have in common? Oftentimes we do business with people that we have things in common with. And so during our conversations, we want to prioritize those mutual benefits, emphasizing that the relationship is a two-way street. And remember, genuine connections are built on trust, transparency, and shared values. If you're calling on a client, you already likely have some of these in common, and you're just simply reconnecting. The challenges in our relationship come when we're meeting strangers for the first time and really knowing, what does that conversation look like? Where are we going? Where are we headed in this conversation? How much do I share about me? Because we don't want to make that conversation about us. Remember, last week we talked about saving um, the conversation about you, who you are, and what you do to the last 2 minutes, asking permission at the last 2 minutes of your interaction with folks, making it all about them. If they throw up a question, give a brief answer. Don't tell a story. Just try to answer the question and move on, and offer them another question so that they can continue to share about them. The depth of the relationship comes down to the questions that you can ask and the information that people are willing to share because they know that you're listening and that you care. So, yeah, where are we going with those questions? We're going to bring some of those up here in the hello to yes formula. I'll share that with you in a bit. But how do we get into action and integration? Is if your memory is not what it is, what it used to be, I'll say that. I know mine isn't as good as it used to be. I used to remember every name and face and where they worked and kids and all those things, and it was really easy for it to come back when I would see somebody. And I will tell you that back in my heyday when I was doing sales, people thought I had a great brain, but I did cheat. Not everybody had a computer in the early 90s. Not everybody had a notebook computer, but I lived in my CRM. I've used, 7, 8, 9 different CRMs, even had a custom CRM created with thousands. That we had over 10,000 people in our CRM back in those days, and I had a notes field where I could keep track of things. So when I followed up, when I scheduled a call back for those folks, I can briefly read the notes. Now these days, I believe a CRM is important. You'll never get me to change my ways. I've been around too long. Sometimes you can teach an old dog new tricks, but old dogs kind of know some tricks too. And so for me, it's my CRM. I like to keep notes on things so that I can go back and look at those things. But we kind of cheat today because if you pop on social media or on somebody's LinkedIn page real quick, if they're doing any social media posting, you might get some tips into what it is that they're interested in, or you can check in with them to see what's happening with their family, maybe on Facebook, if there's somebody who's sharing things that are happening in their world on Facebook or Pinterest or one of the other social platforms. So it's not as important to have those notes, but it's the conversations. Do you remember when we talked about this? And if we keep notes on the questions they asked about the services you offer, those are the things. Those are those refinements, those key things that really show the depth of your listening. When you can hop off, doctors do it. When we meet with our doctors, we, as soon as we leave the room, they're making notes, or as soon as they leave the room, they're on the computer, they're doing their notes, or they're doing their notes at the end of the day. They used to record their notes after each session so that they could write them down. It's important. These are the things that we need to know about people. Sales, is equally as important, because we're not going to get from hello to yes if we don't have that information. If we can't create that transparency, authenticity, trust, and deep listening with our clients, just like a doctor needs to do. Sometimes the doctor has to read between the lines, listening to the pain or the struggles, the troubles that you're having. Are they hungry? Are they not hungry? Are they sleeping? What do those have to do with my broken arm or my sore tummy? It all links together, and so does it in sales. When we're extracting information, it all ties together. It gives us that individual's motivation, or if it's somebody who needs to work with companies with a purpose, or when we know their mission, vision, and values, and it's in alignment with ours, it actually helps us to be better strategic partners for each other. We're looking to do business with them, but we may also be extracting referrals from them or giving them referrals. But if we don't know what they're all about, we don't have the depth of the conversation, we aren't great strategic partners for those people that we come into contact with. So keeping notes, figuring out a way to make sure that when you're following up with people, that you're bringing back to the stage the things that matter to them. Don't always just peek at social media, because sometimes we only know the good stuff there. And in conversation, we get to know their struggles and their challenges. But today we're talking about actionable approaches. What might that include? I'm going to give you a list of a few things, and then we're going to actually dive a little bit deeper, the how to implement all of these ideas, right? So number one, scheduled check-ins. The other benefit of using a CRM, which is a contact relationship manager, a database of some sort, if you will. Your phone is technically a form of a CRM. It's a list of contacts with information in there. But there are CRMs, contact relationship managers, that have functions like scheduled callbacks, note fields, a history of any emails that you sent them, so you could look back if you sent them something or if you put in a proposal. All of those details can be under one roof. They can be in one platform to help you do your sales calls better, to help you follow up. Many of us use them at work, and you're probably familiar with them now. But regularly touching base with people doesn't happen by accident. It happens by plan. And so if we don't reschedule or schedule those calls, we likely are not going to get back to it. When I work with business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, the number one thing that they tell me their area of weakness is, and this is true of me, that's follow up. I have actually, I'm going to tell on myself. This is a book with a list of names of people that I keep notes here on, people that I want to follow up with. I want to make sure I get them into my CRM. These people are not actually in my CRM. There's 5 pages, front and back side, little notebook, but still 5 pages of names that I've written down, people that I may have met at a networking event, or that we were in a virtual networking meeting together. And there are folks that I want to follow up with. They may have seen me, heard me, or maybe asked me a question in the chat about digital marketing or social media. And I wrote their names down, and I still haven't gotten to those folks. I want to put them into my CRM. I've made notes on my little pieces of paper on where I met them. I'll plug that in and just send them an email or reach out on a text to say, hey, do you remember me from here? Or I know it's been a really long time. I'm sure you don't remember me, but we talked about XYZ and I'd love to follow up on that. So where can you plug in the information that you need for your scheduled check-ins? Next one, it's kind of a weird one, but I talk with my hands. So like personal gestures, like how do you lean in when you're having conversations? Another thing is, do you ever do like handwritten notes? On my 12 before 12, I have a list of 12 before 12 that I like to do every day. And one of those things is write one personal note. I have a box of homemade cards. I used to make cards with my former mother-in-law, and many people have gifted me hand-created, handmade cards. And so I love sending, those handmade notes. So I put it on my list as one a day, which equals 5 a week. It's not a lot. It's not difficult to do that. But boy, when people receive those, it really means a lot, because we don't get that kind of mail anymore. It's usually bills or, things that we don't want most of the time. So handwritten notes, thoughtful gifts. If you're showing up to see somebody at their office and you see something that reminded you of them, or maybe you're out and about, you see something that reminds you of a client or a customer, and you can go pick it up and bring it with you. It gives you a reason to stop by. Say, I saw this, I thought of you, I had to come by and drop it off. personalized recommendations. You know how inexpensive it is to have a notebook personalized these days with Vistaprint and copy centers. You can have a custom notepad for them. So I have notepads next to me all the time. Every time I'm on a call, I always have a piece of paper there because I'm not going to pull out my phone while I'm talking to people, but I can write without looking down legibly enough so that I can go back and take a peek at my notes and I don't have to remember everything that happened. And I know we do have the AIs in our virtual meetings now, so you can go back and look at the notes there. But I try to pull out and extract those things that I want to remember. That maybe sifting through the AI transcript isn't. I might miss it. So I always have notes next to me. And even when I'm one-to-one on those Zoom calls or even one-to-one in a meeting, I'll pull it out if I'm going to meet somebody for coffee and say, do you mind if I make some notes, in case you share a wise thought I want to write down, include in my journal. And people don't mind. They don't mind. In fact, they kind of go, who uses paper and pencil anymore, right? So think about that. How can you keep track of the information and how are you going to schedule it? How about collaborative projects? What are some joint initiatives that you can do with folks? It might even be a volunteer project, might not even be related to income producing, but what if together you guys decided to, take 10% of our income for this month and donate it to the United Way or some charitable organization, but you're collaborating and you're working together on that. Or how do we collaborate, find businesses that complement us, or they may have referrals. Yesterday, I had a great experience. I hopped on a social media marketing call, and there's another gal in one of our virtual networking businesses, and she does some website build, some website design, and our website stuff is all drag and drop. It's built into our platform. And I said, I really don't know what you do. And not 100% of the people that meet me actually do business with me. It's not a great, like my product might not be the right fit. There might be pieces missing. And I'm well aware of that, even though we have the world's best, awesome social media platform. We don't have a shopping cart integrated into our platform. We use buttons and we button out to shopping carts. And so maybe that's not right for everybody, depending on their product or service. And so I said, would you love to join me on a sales call? I know that you're meeting with this person from our networking group and I'm meeting with her. And so I'd love for you to join and we can actually answer questions for both platforms and wherever she decides to go. It's not competition, it's co-opetition, right? We're going to collaborate and help each other to close the transaction. Well, she found that the platform actually fit, that the woman actually fit better into the platform that I'm working with. And she actually helped me encourage her because she knew my platform well enough. And if the tables were turned and this person had needed a product catalog or a shopping cart, I could have done the same for her. So think of people, even in that environment, there's a collaborative opportunity. We don't need to glean the field. We can support each other's businesses. And that's going to, rising tide raises all boats because when we're helping each other, at least we know that we're serving people to the best of our ability. And if I can't serve them, I want them to get the best service they can and vice versa. If you're in collaboration with somebody who has that same shared value, that same heart connection to their customers and clients, they're going to want to send them to somebody who they trust if they're not a perfect fit for their business. We don't want to say yes to everybody because those times when we try to make a client fit into our business, it's a burden, not a blessing. And so I've learned that referrals are as equally as important in my business as actually inviting people in to do business with me. And I want to do business with people that I can truly serve without the headaches. I want blessings and I want to be a blessing and I want to allow those folks that are going to get blessed by somebody else to be with somebody else. It's fundamental for my business. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Think about it. Perhaps it's something you want to integrate into yours. Another one is networking events. So many of us do networking events. Obviously, I do. That's where I have this big list, this notebook list of people is from networking events, whether it's virtual or in person, industry gatherings, social gatherings. We're always doing some form of networking. So how are you keeping track of those people? What do you do with them right away? Are you like me and you have a shoebox full of business cards from the olden days when I used to do more in-person networking? that never got entered, that never got around to it. I always pick that low-hanging fruit. Like I mentioned, in the last, the first show in this series, we talked about deepening those relationships and how we follow up with them. So networking events, they're good, but how do we maximize those? We're going to get into actionable items for each of these ideas. And I want to start with the conversation. What does the conversation look like when you're first meeting somebody? If it's a new person, the conversation might be a little bit different. If it's somebody that you're meeting, that you're, following up with, that's a past client, again, there may be a little bit of a tweak to that conversation. They're using your product. How is it working? What's not working? Can I solve any questions? I want you to be 100% happy, or I want you to be happy with that product. And I'm following up to make sure that everything is working. And if they're happy 100%, they may even think of somebody who they can refer you to. And if they're not happy, we want to make them happy. We want to, solve, not that we can make them happy, but we want to solve those issues that are coming up for them, because we want to keep them as a client. So that conversation might be a little bit differently. The formula I want to talk about, it's called Hello to Yes. It's the Hello to Yes formula. I did not create this, but I 100% follow this format within my business. And of course, the language is tweaked slightly depending if it's a past client, a new client, just somebody who I'm looking to maybe collaborate with. There's a refinement with it, but I'm going to give you the essence of it. And so this Hello to Yes formula actually comes from Sean Callaghan. Sean is a magnificent speaker. He's been on Tony Robbins' stage numerous times, and now he's built his own stage and commands an equally respected audience, and is a master trainer. And his team at Unblinded, I've been to a couple of their training programs, and this is where I learned that. So I want to pass it along to you. And if you want to dig deeper, for sure, reach out to the Unblinded team. And Sean Callaghan, maybe you'll pop into a training class with them sometimes. But it's called the Hello to Yes formula, and it's just a series of questions. When we ask it open-ended questions versus yes, no, how are you today? Fine. It is an open-ended question, but most of us answer it with a single word. Or, is that a green suit? Yes or no? We don't want to ask those yes or no questions, because most of the time we're going to get an answer that we already know. It's obvious that it's either a yes or a no sometimes. There may be times when it's important, but in a sales call, when we're trying to build rapport and get to know somebody, we don't really want to be asking yes or no questions. So I'm going to list these off. I encourage you to write them down, or rewind and go back and write them down and kind of sit with them. Maybe integrate a couple of them into your conversation and see if it doesn't get a different outcome than you typically do. So the first question that I wrote down is, why did you take my call? If it's a brand new person that's being referred to me, I might say, how did you hear about me? Or who referred me? Or what did they say that was amazing? Or, what were their comments about me? Just kind of break the ice. And then we have that common bond because that person referred us. If I'm following up with somebody, why did you take my call? It catches them off guard. It's unexpected, but they have to pause and think about it for a second. It's like, I was curious what you were calling about, or you said that you wanted to follow up and answer my questions, or like it helps you to get to the meat of the conversation quickly. Where are we going with this conversation? What is their perception of what we're going to talk about today? That's fuel for me, so I know where to go with them. Rather than, following my own agenda, I get to listen to why they are taking the call. What do they want to know? And make sure that I cover that within our conversation. The second one is, where are you now, or where is your business now? What's working for you now? What's happening in your business? For me, I do coaching clients for social media. It's like, how is your social media working for you right now? And let them talk. Either they love it, they hate it, they can't stand it, they don't do it. You'll get all kinds of information about what's going on in their business. And then another question, and you can tweak this, but how did you get here? How did you choose the social media platform that you were using? How did you stop doing it? Was it too complicated? What caused you to stop using the social media platform? I know that was really important to you the last time that we talked. How did you get here? bringing up the challenges that they might be facing. Another one might be, where are you going? Where last time we spoke, we talked about your mission, vision, and purpose. Uh, how is that working? How are you moving along that path to your mission or your vision or your purpose? Have you attracted those kinds of clients that you were looking to serve in your business? So where is that business going? These are the essence of the questions. You don't ask them exactly like, where's your business going? Yeah, that might not land real well, but you see where I'm kind of directing the conversation. Each individual, that question is going to be a little bit different depending on their business, their product, their service, and their relationship. But you get the idea of the flow, the structure of where we're going with this conversation. Next one is, where are you going? What's working? What's working in your business? If we know what's working, we know what they're happy with. And if we're on a sales call, we want to make sure that we offer those same solutions because they're already working for them. And then obviously the next follow-up, what's not working? Because even though we might be happy with what we're doing, most of us have things within our product, services, tools, things that we're using in our business. There's always something that's not working or that could be a little bit better. Now, again, this is adding into like, how does my product solve those problems for them? All of us are in the problem solving business. That's all sales is we solve a problem. If your product or service does not solve a problem, find a different one, because that's what causes sales to happen. When we can solve problems for people, that's when they're going to come back. And that's when they're going to continue to use our product or service if it is solving a problem for them. So finding out what is working with what they're currently doing and what is not working is going to give you a lot of information on how to direct your sales call. Now, this isn't a sales call, remember. The sales call happens at a different time. We are deepening our relationships. We're getting to know them. We're getting to know their problems. We're getting to know what it is that they need in their business, what the things that they like, the things that they don't like. That's what we're looking for. We are trying to find out everything we can about how we can serve that person, but we are not pitching them anything during this conversation. And then kind of the wrap up questions as we get into the end of this is, what would it mean to you if your vision didn't come through, if it didn't happen? Early on we asked that question, how is your business moving towards your mission? We hear you guys, or I see your mission statement on your website all the time. Where did that mission come from? Who are the people that you serve through that mission? And how is it working? Are you facing any challenges in that? Like, if you couldn't achieve that vision, that mission, what does that mean to you? Would you just throw up your arms and quit? Or, are you not serving those people? Does it make your day more miserable because you're not living on purpose and in your purpose? There's a lot of things that can come up with this question. And again, you don't say it exactly the way that I said it. I kind of gave you a little bit of an example to follow along with. But the idea is when we take somebody to that place, that why, we've heard of all, Simon Sinek talks about the power of why, our mission, our vision, our purpose. Those are the whys that we set up for our company. And if we're not living in alignment with that, there's going to be challenges that show up. Does your product or service solve those challenges for people? Does it help them get back in alignment with their mission, their vision, their purpose? You don't know if you don't ask the question. We need to know where that client is. What is important to them? What's working? What's not working? That's deepening our relationships. How many times do we just show up and we do a sales call? Like, here's the benefits, here's the product, here's the service, here's what it can do for you. But you don't even know if they need that. We have to have this conversation first before we do a sales call. And so these are 15-minute calls usually. Ask for a 15-minute call. We kind of work through some of these questions, deepening that connection with them. Thank you so much for sharing information. Is it okay if for this, it looks like we have about 2 minutes left. Is it okay if I share what I've been up to these days? That's when you get to talk. We talked about it in the first episode that, when people ask you questions, I want you to keep moving, move through that question, maybe give them a short answer, or you know what, I'm going to share that. But first, what I need to know from you, or I want to ask you about before we talk about me, I really want to know this. Keep the conversation about them. We talked about that in the first episode intensely. So if you didn't get to see that, go back and check it out. It was a great episode. I actually listened to it a second time. I was like, wow, that really came through me from the Holy Spirit, because I didn't even remember saying that. But once we get that appointment, that 15-minute appointment with them, we can take them through these questions. And that last question is it okay with you if I share a little bit about what I've been doing these days, something to that effect. And that's where you get to do your 2 minute, here's me, here's what's happening, in my personal life, here's what's happening in my business life. This is what I'm all about. This is my mission, vision, and purpose. And if you get that down to that 60 seconds where you can share what it is that you do, people are going to want to ask for more information. Maybe not today, but at some other point. And I don't want you to share more information than that. It's just a 60-second pitch at this point. You want to introduce, for me, thank you so much for you all listening. I really, probably the best thing about my day is when I sit down with entrepreneurs and I get to hear their mission, vision, purpose, and help them put that into social media using customized social media posts that are in their own language, but written by AI. It helps them to expedite the process and allows them to quickly, in less than 5 minutes, do social posting on all four platforms, all four of the five of the major platforms in under 5 minutes. And I get to take that voice, that vision, mission, purpose of that person and help them put it into a social media post and let them tell the world about what it is that they do. That's what I love to do about my business. That's what I love so much about my business, period. Now, I didn't tell them anything about my product. I don't tell them how I do it. And if they said, oh my gosh, I need that for my business, I would not sell them that here. It's like, you know what? We're out of time today. Can we book a time? I would love to show you the app. And that's it. That is how we get from hello to yes. There's a few refinements in there, but I want you to follow that along with the process, the structure, the idea of how this works. If you don't have a process in your conversations when you're meeting with people, whether it's a new client, somebody you're following up with, or even existing clients that you're checking in with, when you go into those conversations with intention, write down those questions that you want to know ahead of time so that you know how to direct your conversation with them, how to share the problem-solving solutions that your company offers, because they always come up if we enter these conversations with an intention and a direction and a purpose of helping them solve the problems. If we ask the questions of what's not working, what is working, it gives us that guidance that we need to continue to move through those conversations. So that's the conversation. Action and integration. I want to just touch on this a little bit before we wrap up today. Action and integration is, we have these ideas, but how do we actually implement them? How do we put them into action? Number one, reflect on your current network. Like, who are the people? We talked about this again, episode 1. Everybody in your phone made it to your phone for a reason. Like, and probably trust most of the people that are in your phone. When was the last time you called through them all? I told you I challenged myself for the entire month of March to get through as many people in my phone, maybe not a phone conversation, but a text. Nowadays, not everybody has time for a phone call, but many, many people you can reach out through text, check in, find out what's going on. And there may be cause you can always invite them to a 15-minute coffee call, right? You can, the option is always available for you to just pop on and say, hey, I'd love to hear your voice. Can we chat for about 15 minutes? Are you busy Wednesday afternoon or after work? And we can visit for a few minutes. I'd love to kind of check in. So check in with your network. How are you going to follow up with them? Who are the individuals or the current professionals in your network that you have not been in touch with for a while, but they used to refer you a lot of business? Create a list of those people. I did the hard copy list. I grabbed a notebook and I said, here, these are the 500 people that I want to reach out to and connect with. This is an old list. I pulled this out this month for the month of March. I'm using the phone. I'm going through the phone because the phone numbers are already in there. The people's names are already in there. All my notes for those folks that went in there. Now, those are not necessarily people I do business with. They're people I've come in contact with or met or had a connection with. But there may be a business opportunity, but I never followed up with them to find out, or even friends or family. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know what I do. I was a secret agent. In my family, there were people that I could help in their business, but they didn't know what I did because I didn't take the time to have that conversation with them. So check out your phone. Might be the first place that you enter into this idea of deepening your relationships. Create the list, or my list is already created because it's in the phone. come up with your list of questions. Maybe you'll rewind and go back and grab some of these to help you kind of move through that process. Tune into, Unblinded on YouTube. I'm sure you can find that Hello to Yes presentation somewhere in there, and listen in. Maybe you'll pull out a few tips from that conversation. Identify opportunities and strengths with those connections. If you can, look somebody up on LinkedIn before you text them, or before you have a conversation with them. What are their needs? Have they expressed any needs or concerns, or ways that you could be of better service to them through their social media platforms? Number two, identify potential collaborators. Who are those people? Like the other business coach that I was telling you about. I do websites, social media, landing pages. She does website, but more from a build up, a different mechanism. Ours a platform, drag and drop, a little bit simpler, entry level. Other people need more intricacies, shopping carts, different things. So now I've basically vested somebody that I would recommend. If I can't help you, I would love for you to talk to this person. Who can you collaborate? There are people out there that would love to send you referrals if they knew what you did, because there are people that they can't serve and they want to send them to someone they trust, because it builds their trust and their relationship. And, eventually somebody may grow into your business or may need to refer you to somebody. So when we refer, it builds that trust in our other relationships. Next one, action, research and compile a list. Oh, actually, this is more notes on that collaboration. Research and compile a list of potential collaborators and then reach out with genuine interest. This is another opportunity for conversations. They're collaborators. You can have that first conversation. We do this on LinkedIn, but we do it in a really scammy way, I think, where it's like, I see that your profile has, and I'd love to meet you, and I think we could collaborate on things. And then as soon as you accept their invite, or accept their connection, all of a sudden you get this, here's everything that I do. Like anybody's ever going to read that. No, 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 no. Don't do it like that. This is about heart to heart, depth of relationships, having a conversation, getting to know their business so that you can truly refer them, not just getting their price sheet and say they're cheaper. That's not what we're talking about. What is their mission, vision, value? What is their purpose? And do you have those things for your business? Because if you don't, then we need to talk. I want you to have those for your business. It's important how you show up. People know if you're authentic. They know if you're on purpose and on mission, and they want to do business with people, especially the millennials and the younger generation. They want to do business with companies that are serving other people, not just about the mighty dollar and putting a buck in their pocket. So it's really important to let people know what your story is, your mission, your vision, your value, and your purpose. Let's see. Practice active listening. How are you going to do that? Are you going to use those series of questions? We've already kind of covered that in depth. Maybe try it. Schedule a call, and on your next interaction, set the intention before you actually make the call or hop on the Zoom. Write it down and say, I'd like to know these things. What's working well in their business? What are their challenges? What's not working well for them? If they could change anything within their whatever product or service you have, if you do have a CRM, or if you're a coach, a health and wellness coach, I wonder what does your diet look like right now? What is your favorite thing about the foods that you eat? Or how often do you walk or exercise? Like, we can ask those questions that, come from that sincere place. It's like, I'm gathering information. I want to know, what's working for folks so that I can share it with the other clients of mine. So coming from that authentic place, genuinely wanting to know and deeply listening to what it is that they're saying. Make sure that you ask open-ended questions, not yes or no questions. Let people have a chance to talk, and don't cut them off. Let them finish their statements, and you don't need to interject. I go walking 20 minutes a day. Oh, so do I. Nuh-uh. No need to say that. You'll have your turn. Right now, we're just deeply listening to them, finding out who they are and what it is that we can do to help them achieve their goals. Express gratitude. Number 4, express gratitude and recognition. When people send us a referral, I am so guilty of this. I sometimes forget to say thank you. Can you imagine not saying thank you to somebody? What systems do you have in place to thank new clients that came up? A friend of mine, Stephen Patterson, he posts every new client, he posts them in his LinkedIn page. He recognizes that they're doing business with him. He thanks them for doing business with them, and he introduces them to his entire network of people on LinkedIn. What a brilliant idea. Like, how are you helping your clients to succeed? The people that you're doing business with, no greater way. Introduce them to your network, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are on social media. Hey, we just did this project. We're collaborating on this project. Let people know. Introduce them to the people that are in your network. We're creating win-win, heart-centered teams by doing these things and taking these actions. And we're listening. If they need more clients, of course we want to make some of those connections for them. Always send a heartfelt message, a heartfelt text, maybe even that handwritten note. I don't know what it is for you, but show appreciation, express gratitude. It never goes unnoticed. Never, ever does it go unnoticed. But if it isn't there, that definitely gets noticed. It's really important to say thank you and express gratitude. Number 5, schedule relationship building activities. For me, Wednesday afternoons and evenings, that's when I reach out. It's like, here's my 15-minute slots. I'd love to chat with you. Are you available on Wednesday? Wednesday afternoon or evening is totally open for me. I would love to, visit for 15 minutes if you have time in the car on the way home from work, or before you close out your day, or when you get home and you're putting your feet up, let's chat for a few minutes. There's ways to ask for that question, ask for that time, and be able to just make it about them. Let them chat about what's going on in their world and have those conversations. So block out specific times in your calendar for networking, for coffee meetings, and for doing your deep listening connection activities with new clients, old clients, maybe family and friends, because some of us don't even take the time to do that. All right, that's all I have for you this week. Last week we had a bonus question, and I said, when will you commit to this? So I'm going to repeat that question. I encouraged you to set that time, block that time. If you thought about it right now and a day popped into your head, when would you make this decision to do this? When are you going to block the time? Just like right now, you don't have to go to your calendar, but just say, what day of the week would make the most sense right now? Have that thought. Is it Wednesday afternoons for you? Is it Friday afternoons? Because you're kind of done. It's like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have a chat with you on Friday afternoon. I'm always curious about what people are doing for the weekend, and just make Fridays all about connecting with people, listening to people, and hearing about their fun things that they're doing. But set a timeline, pick a date, and then put it on your calendar when you get a chance. This week's bonus question is, how will you establish milestones and checkpoints? We need to, you all heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and trackable, right? SMART goals. So be specific. What action steps do you want to take with this idea of connecting and following up and making sure that you're collaborating with people and opening the doors for referrals, asking for those referrals when you can? What new connections and collaborations can you create? Where do you want to go find those people? Come up with a plan, pick a day, and start to integrate some of that stuff into your schedule. And then check those milestones. If I set a goal to meet 5 new people this week, did I do it? And if it's Friday afternoon, who am I going to dive into? Where am I going to find 5 referrals of people, new people that I can talk to on Friday afternoon if we wait till the last minute? Set that goal for Monday, because then if you don't get it Monday, you've got all week to worry about that, right? But if we hit that goal on Monday, we don't have to think about it again. I'm going to meet 5 new people and find out how I can serve them better on Monday or on Tuesday. So what milestones and checkpoints are you setting for yourself to make sure that you do this? It's the number one problem in most businesses. How many people who are listening to this call right now have gone through and called everyone they've ever done business with and asked for a referral? I venture to guess 0 or less than 1%. If that's you, why are you networking? Why are you running ads? Why are you spending money bringing people in? You haven't utilized the tools that you have. Your phone, your past client list, the people that you've already done business with. They each know a couple hundred people, and they may just know your next most important client. So reach out. Yeah, reach out and schedule it. This is your business, and it's really important. Thank you so much for letting me share a bit of advice. If you need help to expand your reach on social media, you can go over to lisamosbey.com. That's Lisa, Mosbey.com, and grab a time with me, 30 minutes. My online calendar is there, and we can talk about your business. I'd love to hear what you do. And I promise this is all I'll say about me from here, where you're listening on the podcast. It'll be all about you, and I'd love to hear more about your business. So do please reach out, lisamosbey.com. I'd love to talk more about this. And thank you so much.